I hate your beard and uniform. I hate your shaving profile.
You learn how to shave?
Already treat you like a second-class citizen. And you still deployable. They cannot make you cut your beard.
This really might be my most controversial video yet. The United States Army recently came out with a new policy where if you are a soldier who has been diagnosed with PFB or you cannot shave your face due to it physically harming you, you may now be opted to get admitted. Wait, you're gonna get kicked out? Wait, what's gonna happen to me? Today we're going to talk about the new Army policy stating that if you are a soldier that can't shave your face due to a skin condition, which affects unfortunately the majority of black people, i.e. your boy, you're going to get kicked out. Is this racist? Why did they just change this policy when it wasn't a thing 3 months ago? Am I gonna get kicked out? Why did they change it only for medical but not religious? Should you still join the military? So I'm gonna answer all of those questions, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe because we're almost at 100,000 subscribers. And if you're new to the military, about to join the military, or already in the military, or out the military, join the Discord. And if you need help with the ASVAB, we got you covered below. So let's talk about this new shaving policy that the United States Army has pushed out. So before, the United States Army allowed you to keep a beard if you were medically diagnosed with a skin condition such as PFB that disallowed you from shaving, because if you did shave, you were going to hurt your face significantly. So if you were diagnosed with that, you were able to keep a beard like mine, but it had to be within standards. It can't be more than 1/4 of an inch off of your face, and it had to be well kept and neat. But now the Army is changing its tune, and they are saying that if you do have that same skin condition, you are now going to have the chance to reevaluate that skin condition. You might be offered treatment such as laser hair removal surgery to get your hair off your face so you don't have to worry about bumps, or you're gonna get kicked out. So Aaron, how did you end up with a shaving profile, and how were you diagnosed with PFB? Well, let me explain. If you guys have been following the channel for a while, you guys have seen my earlier videos where you guys actually do see me shave my face. And in my earlier videos, I even told you guys to use this product so you guys don't get bumps as bad as some people do. But I actually got my shaving profile in a kind of weird, unique way, because I'm not the type of person, because if you guys don't know, in the military, weakness is not very promoted. And me being the soldier that's trying to make the best impression, I wasn't trying to be looked at as weak. I totally support soldiers getting help that they need, but that's just the culture of the military, which I agree with. We don't want weak soldiers. We don't want weak people. We need the military to be strong. I'm just giving context. So how did I end up getting my shaving profile, which is what they call it in the Army? I had the wonderful opportunity of getting stationed at Fort Drum, New York. I would say the best duty station in the United States Army, as my first duty station in a field unit. And if you guys don't know, Fort Drum, 10th Mountain Light Infantry Division, baby, is, if not the most deployed unit in the United States Army. So with that being said, we go to a lot of field exercise. And if you don't know what the field is, you just go out into austere environments, crappy environments, to play war and be ready for war when we need to act on it. And so when you're out in the field, you don't have access to sinks, you don't have access to what you have access to at home. It's not very comfortable. It's not a very clean, sterile place. And so I was out in the field, and if you guys don't know, you guys are still required to be within grooming standards in the field. And so you're still gonna shave your face out in the field, even if you don't have a sink or the access to the things that you would have access to back at home. And so Private Aaron, Specialist Aaron Batley here, shaving his face away in the field, and I'm going to chow, and I get stopped by my PM or my PA that's in my unit. He takes a look at my face and he says, Specialist Aaron Batley or Specialist Batley, Private Batley, you need to see me later so we can get you a shaving profile because your face is looking ate up. It's looking terrible. You know, we appreciate you trying to stay within the standard, but we're going to use the technology that we have and the policies that we have to help you help us. I don't want this idea of soldiers who have profiles are just not trying to shave. I don't want to continue that stigma, because the process is a multi-step process where you meet with the doctor looks at your face, he prescribes you ointments, topicals, and creams so that you can continue serving the military within the standard, and then you're gonna go back to that doctor and he's gonna reevaluate you and either continue up the process or stop you there because you guys found a solution. Fortunately, I couldn't find a solution, so the doctor gave me a medical profile, an exemption to the Army's guidelines of having a clean shaven face, and so I am now able to keep a beard, but it has to be within the Army guidelines that they have for people who can't shave their face. Beards in the military go way back to times where Jesus Christ was walking this earth. For an example, during the American Revolutionary War, beards, at least in the United States side, weren't really looked up upon. Right? You didn't really see portraits of American Revolutionary soldiers wearing beards, and also beards during that time period weren't really allowed, even though there weren't standards and guidelines that the whole military abided by. It was just seen as like, yeah, no, we're not really doing beards during this period. You're gonna have to come back during the Civil War period where freaking beards were rocking, you know what I'm saying? I said that very corny, but during the Civil War period, the United States at the time, the sentiment towards beards were seen as masculine, manly, and it was dope. It was a great time period, except for people that look like me. Until we got to the World War I time period where war kind of got scary and we got to using things that we should not have been using, such as mustard gas. And if you had a beard and you'd put on your gas mask, you're not really going to have a great time putting it on because your beard's going to get in the way. And they said at the time that having a big bushy beard would mess with the seal of the gas mask. And so that's when the United States military at the time enacted rules and guidelines, because at the end of the day, rules and guidelines are to keep people safe. And so they pushed out that all soldiers must be clean shaven in case of a nuclear, biological, or chemical attack. They don't have issues with the gas mask. Now, we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then we get to today, where studies have been kind of showing that having a beard doesn't really affect you being able to put your gas mask on. And as someone who has went through the gas chamber with this very fine beard, I haven't had any issues with my gas mask sealing properly. And on top of that, we have our allied and partner nation militaries allowing beards. But then that makes you wonder, why are they getting stricter with beard policies now? After tons and tons of research, I've concluded to this. This is what makes sense to me. Before I tell you, I want you guys to understand my thought process about military and just life overall. To me, all this is just a big game, and in order to play a game, you have to understand the game, understand how the game works, the rules. Because once you understand the rules and how it works, you can figure out how to win. So we're gonna go back to high school for a quick second. I think politics or geopolitics or history, I don't know what class specifically, but we have to understand, I think it's government. We have to understand how government works, right? So who controls the military? Every 4 years, the people of the United States of America get together and we have a vote. And we vote for the President of the United States of America. And so this year, the American people voted for the Honorable Donald J. Trump, right? And what can the president do? The president chooses who the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of War, the War Secretary, but the Secretary of Defense, the Honorable Pete Hegseth, governs the military. And to make it easier to understand, Mr. Hegseth does not like the current state of the military, and he has publicly stated his grievances.
We're back with another DoD reform, and this one, it's a doozy. Now, service members need to be medically ready to fight. So today, I'm signing a memorandum that tasks the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness to reevaluate these medical standards for joining the U.S. military.
With the current state of the military. And so as his job as Secretary of Defense, he's going to make the military better. And as he has stated,
here at the Defense Department, we are restoring the warrior ethos. And that means we got to be fit to fight inside all of our formations. That starts with standards. By some level of uniform and simplification that can be addressed.
He is going to focus on standards, tradition, and uniformity. And you might kind of get the hint that having a beard in the military kind of goes against uniformity, standards, tradition. I want you guys to comment down below what you guys think, but that's what we're focusing on. But something just still did not sit right with me while I was doing my research. It still kind of didn't make sense, because if you enact all these drastic changes of policies, you're going to expect a lot of people to leave the military. And what is the main resource of the military? The people inside of it. And so that made me come to this conclusion, because I don't think Congress is going to be too happy if you kick out half of the military. And so on top of the emphasis of standards, tradition, and uniformity, the fact that the United States of America's economy is doing like absolutely trash right now. Inflation is rampant. The cost of living is high. The jobs are not as plentiful. And if they are plentiful, they're not really paying as much to allow someone to live the life that they want to live. And I'm not finished, unfortunately. On top of that, the opportunities after high school for today's high school students with the abolishment of Job Corps. If you don't know what Job Corps is, it's pretty much like the military, but it just helps a high school student get into a trade. They pay for the students' living expenses, food, shelter, etc. And then at the end of the program, that student will be able to become like a HVAC technician. You get the gist. And what's also gone is the sense of going to college, because right now we have AI taking over everything. And so if you're gonna tell a high school student to get in a lot of debt for something that might not even be there by the time you finish college, that's not really going to work out well in your favor. And so after that being said, you kind of look around. If I was a high school student and the military is like the only option if I don't have a strong financial household to come from, the military is like my best option if I kind of want to move forward in life. At least that's my opinion. I want you guys to put it in the comments below what you guys think, because that's not all though. Right now, as the United States of America, we're not at war. We're not at war with any major faction. Although we might be in hot spots around the world, we are not officially at war. And so during peacetime, the military kind of gets weird. Let me explain. During my research, I found this quote: "If you don't give a warrior a war, he goes to war with himself." I kind of see the military just getting better, or just finding things to do, since we're not really at war, right? Because the whole purpose of the military is either go to war or keep training for war. So what we're going to be seeing is just a lot of changes that hopefully makes the next war go easier for us. But at the same time though, we really don't have a justification to have a lot of people or have a lot of staff, since we're not really actively at war. And so during times of peace, the military starts to downsize, and if you combine that with a bad economy, they're really not worried about not getting more people. And so what I'm trying to say is the military can afford to be picky with what they want in their military and who they want to have in their military. Because if you look at times like the Iraqi surge during 07 or 08, the United States economy was also doing terrible at that time. The United States military though was allowing felons to join the military, or allowing people with tattoos, whereas the military policy at the time didn't allow tattoos. But since the United States military needed bodies that badly, we were willing to let it slide. And so that's what I feel like we're seeing today. And I want you guys to comment in the comment section below what you guys think, because that's what kind of makes the most sense to me. Is this policy racist? My answer to that, I hope not. I truly hope not. And to kind of go in deeper, I've never experienced any type of blatant racism in my time in the military. I've had white people, Mexican people, yellow people, orange people help me out in my career tremendously. So I don't think the military is racist as of today. If we can't have beards for medical reasons, why can they still have beards for religious reasons? Well, as of today, religion is protected by law. And as a government entity, you can't really violate, or what's the other word? You can't break the law if you're enforcing the law. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really work. But since the military isn't an equal opportunity job, it's not held to the same regards to those same protections, whereas medical conditions are kind of placed in. So I want you guys to comment, if there wasn't protections against religion, would they still have kept beards for religious reasons. Because if you guys did not know, if you guys practice a religion that requires a beard, you guys can still, at the time of this video, have a beard in the military. So Aaron, are you going to get kicked out of the military? What are your thoughts on this? Should you still join the military? As a soldier, I don't get paid to give my opinions on policy changes. I get paid to be a soldier. And I don't say that to just kind of escape the question, but truly, you're not going to really do much by voicing your opinion online unless you do like a letter to Congress or to the president to share your dissatisfaction anonymously. Voicing your criticisms or voicing your opinion isn't really going to do much, and I do not promote it. Whether I like it or not, this policy is the policy, and I refuse to give my only thing that's precious to me is my time, attention, and energy to something that I cannot control. And I recommend you guys to do the same. What I want you guys to do, if you guys are still in, is to evaluate your current situation, evaluate how you feel, because I'm not going to lie to you guys, I definitely was hit by this new policy. I was affected just like you guys, and I strongly encourage you guys reaching out to behavioral health or all the other resources that you guys have to help you. And when it comes to should you stay in the military or should you get out the military, that's something that you have to answer for yourself. How is your life right now? If you get out of the military, are you going to be a productive member of society? Are you going to be still good physically, mentally, and financially and stable? Or are you going to be a bum because the military was like your main support source? Or do you understand the nature of which the employment in which you are currently in, and you understand that every 4 years? And keep in mind, guys, we're used to this. If you're in the military, your commander, your unit first sergeant, battalion command sergeant major, brigade, general, etc. changes every 2 to 3 years. So if you're in the military, you're used to policy changes, because if you guys have been to a couple duty stations or been through a couple commanders, as soon as they come into the unit, change. So you guys are used to this. This isn't something that you guys have not been dealt with before. And what do? You endure, and you have already proven to yourself that you can make it no matter how much you don't like it potentially. And so the other option is what I'm seeing is, are you going to just endure the current administration at which pushing these new policies and hope for the best for the next administration? Or are you going to use your benefits to get out of the military? Because believe it or not, for some of you, this is the best thing that has ever happened to you, because it's a wake-up call that the military is in fact still the military. You don't get to choose. There is no individualism in the military. And so that might be your wake-up call to, you know what, I'm going to get out, start my own business, do this, etc. And I'm going to use the military's benefits in which I've worked my ass off for, putting my life in danger for. And I'm going to be a great, productive member of society and get out. But what I don't want you guys to do is have an attitude, have this chip on your shoulder that makes your environment toxic, and nobody wants to help you or work with you. I don't want you guys to think that, oh, all white people are racist and against me. That's stupid. And please do not fall for that and let people have leverage over you. You get in trouble, and now you're in UCMJ. You're getting kicked out the military. You're getting your pay taken away. You're getting your time taken away from you doing extra duty. It's not a good life. So whatever decision you guys do make sure you're thinking through it rationally and not emotionally. I know it might be a little emotional topic, but sit down, go through what you got to go through, go to the gym, whatever, talk to somebody, but don't do anything publicly or don't do anything that you will regret later, because it's not worth it. Answer the question about are you going to get kicked out or not? I honestly don't know. I don't know. I literally don't know. I can only go off of the information that I have at the time and make the best decision for myself and my family at the time. And God. Aaron, do you still recommend the military? Yes, I do still recommend the military. Everybody who joined the military, shave their freaking face. It's all good. You'll be okay. Your hair is going to grow back. At the end of the day, and I preach this in all my videos, the military will make you sacrifice a lot of the things. You just have to make the military a good reason to sacrifice for, because nobody between patriotism, family tradition, or going to college join the military because it's not a good thing for them. They don't do that. If you join the military, you know you're going to just die as soon as you sign up paperwork. You're not going to join. So make that sacrifice. I love my country so much. I want my kids to go to college for free. Make that sacrifice worth it for you and keep chugging along. You guys will be hit with this quote if you haven't been hit with it already. Be the NCO or be the boss that you want to be. Everybody watching this video right now will be in a position of leadership to make change and enact change. Already is in a position to make change or have been in a position to make change, right? While you guys are young or while you guys are just going through life or whatever, realize you guys are the future. The people that are watching this video right now, if you're like young, you guys will be the president, the CEO, the manager, the mid-manager, the low manager. You guys will all be in a position of leadership at one point in time. And so remember all this stuff. Remember all the stuff that you don't like. And so when it's your turn to take charge, unless you find out the reason why they actually did keep those reasons in. And I know you guys probably see all the TikTok videos of people with high rank talking about the policy, telling you this or do that. Do what's right for you. Don't get in trouble because they're not going to be there to save you. Don't make these videos that you see online discourage you from doing what you want to do. Go to that board, go to Ranger School. Don't make these videos make you get in trouble and face UCMJ action and get you kicked out with an Article 15. Now you can't get any type of employment anywhere. Do what's right for you. In the military, the mission is always first. Always put a mission for you also that you put first above things like this, shaving your face, but the mission still tops that because the military is still helping me push towards my mission. I really want to hear what you guys' opinion on this matter is. Comment below. Are you still joining the military? What your thoughts are about this? What do you think is going to happen next? Like and subscribe. If you're new, peace out. Love y'all boys.